안녕하세요. What is up, ducks quack quack? Danny Kim.
David.
And welcome to the very first episode of Duck Therapy. This is a new series that we're doing because we wanted to help the real problems that you have in your real life and not just be an entertainment channel. So why are you laughing?
No, I think it's a good cause.
Right. It's a very good cause because we're really nice people and we're really thoughtful. We made an email account down here below where you can send in your stories, your concerns, and your daily lives. And we actually received a lot of stories in just a single week, and we picked a few of them, and we're going to solve each one in each video with the help of none other than a very professional and an expert in mental health care. So we have Miss Sharon Lady with us.
Hi.
Introduce yourself,
Good to
please.
see you guys. I'm Sharon Lady. I am the former Minister of Health for the province of Manitoba, but I'm also somebody with lived experience of a variety of mental health diagnoses, including anxiety, bipolar, and that came out of some depression and postpartum that was diagnosed. I have dealt with suicide attempts. Through this history that I've had, also received training in peer support, mental health first aid, and psychological first aid. So after coming out of a decade of politics and what that did to my mental health, I am now a mental health advocate, and I do public speaking, and I offer a couple of different styles of programs that are actually fan-based mental health programs. So I have Embrace Your Superpowers, which is all about superheroes in the Marvel Universe. And then I also have Bulletproof to Stigma, which is a BTS inspired mental health program.
Wow,
sounds
that is
awesome,
so professional.
And sounds like you've had quite a life there.
I don't even know why we're on this show.
I don't know why we're on the show, but we'll read your stories. Okay, I got the first one ready. This comes from 19-year-old Mexican lady named Sandy. Hi, first of all, thanks for your attention. I'm gonna start that lately I have not felt my best. Yes, sometimes I have good moments, but when I have sad days, they make sure I don't forget them. I think that is just life, but I'm quite exhausted with myself, how I think and overthink everything to the point where I don't sleep and wake up way before my alarm sounds off. Impossible for me to get back to sleep because I become restless and start thinking. My doubts towards my life decisions might be the main reason. Still, I have more things that could be the reason. I feel disgusted with my personality. I don't mean that I'm the worst, but I lately have felt more comfortable with the worst side of me, or I have gotten used to it. I'm always irritated, or I easily get annoyed. You could say that I'm always angry, especially with my older sister. She is someone who loves me selflessly, and my actions are not reciprocal. Lately, I have been selfish and full of envy towards her, and I believe that is what makes me think that I'm just a disgusting person. I should be grateful to have her, to have a sister so understanding, lovely, and who likes the same things as I do. But I just keep mistreating her. We like the same things, and in general, I'm happy about it. That has made the bond strong through the years, but it has gotten to a point where I can't stand it. It feels as if I can't have a single thing that is mine, to the point that I think, is this my dream or hers? It's as if I'm in a race where I have lost the path. Don't get me wrong, I really love my sister, but I guess my actions are a reflection of this. I really wish to change, but like I mentioned before, I have become used to this side of me. Sometimes I even justify or believe that is just the effect of my period, but it has become something else. Thank you for your time, for caring for others, creating a space for people who need help. It creates consciousness. Once again, thank you. So personally, I think this is a very natural thing to feel. It's a very human emotion to feel like envy towards someone else, especially your siblings, especially your older siblings. I don't have an older sibling, but I did feel envy towards my brother. My mom was buying him a lot of stuff, and no one was giving me money. But I think you have to think it like this. No one is gonna live your life. Your sister's not gonna live your life. So stop comparing. I think you should stop comparing yourself to her. I mean, it's very natural for you to be similar in terms of personality, characteristics, dreams and aspirations to your sister because you lived under the same household, under the same parents, under the same conditions. So it's a very natural thing. Accept that as it is, and you should stop comparing yourself to her. Stop trying to be someone different from her. Just don't think about it. Like I think you should just focus on your life and your life alone, while loving your sister, obviously, because it just happens that if you live under the same roof, you're gonna be similar to each other. What do you think?
Yeah, I mostly agree to Danny's opinion too. I think the first step is to stop comparing. Think of yourself as a unique being, totally different from your sister. Even if you do have similar traits, those traits can also be narrowed down into like unique factors as well. And you have your own unique skills, you have your own unique talents, and everyone's different. So try to discover that and try to think like, oh, I have my own strengths as well. So like, I don't necessarily have to just compete with my sister in the same category. And like, even if you do, like, who knows? Look at Billie Eilish. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but if you look
random.
Her brother is a producer, and I saw her documentary. You should see it too. There's this moment in the interview when he says like, "Oh, I was always outperformed by Billie. Like she was way better in like producing or singing than me, but eventually we just cooperated together, and they are the fantastic duo right now. Like they are making the songs together. They are making all these wonderful performances. So there might be this possibility of you cooperating with your sibling as well, but at the same time you can find your own, I don't know, unique category or your own strength, and you could try to rediscover yourself.
Oh, so sorry. Just one more thing before Sharon.
Yeah.
And I think it's a blessing that you have similar dreams and aspirations as your sibling, because like Billie Eilish, you know, they're both into music, and they can help each other out. He produces the songs, Billie sings and performs. Actually, it's not that common to have two siblings in the same field working together. So I think in a sense, you have someone who you can trust the most. You can trust them more than any of your friends probably, because you're bonded by family. So you have someone very trustworthy that can potentially work with you in the future for many, many years. So I think it's a very big blessing for you.
Yeah.
And Sharon,
I think you've got some really good ideas there. I'm going to sort of take it, I guess you'd say, next level, because the kind of stuff when I was listening to that story, what registered for me from a mental health perspective was the idea of overthinking. The fact that overthinking was leading to sleep problems, and then how that led in turn to the feelings about herself. And all of those things tie into mental health, as well as the overall feelings that she was describing in terms of that dynamic with the sister, and how you start believing all of those bad negative things about yourself. That overthinking is often part of something, whether it's short-term anxiety and anxiousness or an anxiety disorder. That's one of the first things that happens, is you overthink everything. This remote control to your brain, it flicks through all the channels in your brain in a way that you wouldn't normally, and you start to feel separate from yourself. And so you start to feel like, yes, these are your thoughts. And then one of the first things that happens when we're in the early stages of whether it's an official diagnosis or if it's something that you're going through episodically, is that you lose self-compassion. You start believing all the bad stuff about yourself. And that was the kind of message that I heard. There was that sense of normalizing that, well, I live with I'm kind of disgusted with myself, but this is normal, and I kind of rationalize it now. We start to believe that that's who we are. We start to think that that's actually us, and you start to lose compassion for yourself. You start to lose your ability to relate to other people and become, again, defensive or snarky or whatever else, like just, you're up in somebody else's business, or feeling that sense of, again, is this my stuff or is this something else? One thing that could be addressed would be seeing about sleeping. Because one of the other things is that the less sleep we get, the more it feeds that cycle. And then what you get is this vicious cycle. Less sleep you get, worse your mental health gets, worse your mental health gets, worse your sleep gets. And so you start doubling down.
True.
So any kind of things that involve meditation, relaxation, Stuff coming from positive psychology as well, where you do exactly that kind of reframing that you were both talking about. Yeah, I am a good person. These are my things. I should consider myself grateful to have a sibling that has shared interests, somebody that I can share my passions with. I'm fortunate to have somebody like that in my life. And so it's about reframing. There's also a therapeutic technique that's called cognitive behavioral therapy. And basically it's mind over mood. So if somebody is not feeling that they're comfortable yet with seeking out therapy, there is actually a book that's been translated, I think it's into 27 languages now, called Mind Over Mood. So it's basically changing the way you think, because once you start changing the way you think, you can literally silence the inner critic. You can get that remote control back, turn the volume down, gain control. It's not going to happen overnight, but once you get an awareness of it and start to recognize, oh, hold on, that's that other thing, that's that other part of my brain, that inner critic, you can, again, gain control of it. So I really want to thank Sandy for writing in. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of people watching this that are going to really be able to relate to that. And to, first of all, know it's not unusual. It's not abnormal. You're not broken. It is just a matter of getting an understanding, getting a handle on it. And also knowing too that what works for one person isn't always going to work for somebody else. So build up a toolkit, or understand that give things a try. But if this particular thing didn't work for you, doesn't mean nothing is going to work for you. It could just mean it's not going to work for you right now.
So you're saying that essentially the sister, her comparing herself with the sister and feeling like, she's doesn't like the sister or something like that while she loves her, is just only a symptom of a deeper issue in her mental state.
Yeah, and the folks that we love are usually the first people that we lash out on. So in other words, if you're in a depressive state, whoever you live under the roof with and that share a roof with, those are going to be the people that, well, because they're around the most, they're going to irritate you the most. So that's the ironic part, that a lot of folks, this is something that goes for folks that are living with someone that might be going through this, and instead of seeing their self in the story, they're seeing the story from the sister's perspective. Recognize that when somebody is acting out like that, that's not them personally necessarily. Yes, it's coming through them, but if there is some kind of mental health stress, that's actually the condition filtering their behavior. And like I said, think of it as that inner critic, that other thing that's kind of hijacking the brain and doing those things. So not to take it personally. If somebody says something in a depressive funk, it's not gospel. Don't throw it back in their face later. Have some compassion for them, because that's the other thing. When we're in mental health despair, the first thing we do is lose compassion for ourselves. So we need it from other people, even if we're not exhibiting a lot of compassion ourselves, because we lose the capacity to.
Well, that's why we have the expert.
Excellent advice.
Honestly, way better advice than what we gave. But I hope that helped you, Sandy, in Mexico. And yeah, go read that book and go treat yourself well with more sleep and meditation. Read that book that Sharon suggested, and know that it's really not you, but something inside your mind. Take the control of the remote control in your mind and your brain. So thank you very much for coming up to us and sending us a story, and we'll see you again in the next episode of Duck Therapy. But before we go, Sharon, do you have anything you want to promote?
Schools. I'm starting to build online communities, because what I've come to realize is that a lot of folks want to have a place that they can talk about mental health, and they don't necessarily have a safe space, whether it is at work, at home, at school. So I am starting to build some online communities on my website. It's the www.speak-up.co. You guys can type that down there, and there are 3 different communities. One is a general empowering mental health. One is the superhero themed one, and the other is the BTS themed one. And it's basically once a week we're going to get together, talk about some different tools. I'll be sharing some ideas, some things that people can use, and it'll be done through Zoom. There's going to be a special duck rate that you'll see for any of those communities. Nice. So I will be charging everybody else one rate, but if ducks want to get in on it, there
you
will
get a
be a special
discount.
ducks rate. I figured if I was going to do this,
know.
I would give your community a better deal, and it would be a fixed permanent
Yes.
deal. So in other words,
Okay.
it's a monthly rate that gives you access to 4 mental health meetings a month and the online tools.
Okay, so go check out speakup.co, speak-up.co, and get your counseling or those forums that are there to help you out. So until next time, bye-bye.